Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be tier ranking the Sentai Pink Rangers from Jetman to King-Ohger, and as a whole I think this is the color that has the most similarities between all the characters. A lot of them feel really similar, but for the most part I think they're pretty good. I'll also be including the 4 or so White Rangers, because for the most part they are substitutes for Pink, and then I'll also be including Rita from King-Ohger, just because they're the only purple Ranger on a main team, and they fit with the rest of the Pink Rangers. And at the end I'll also talk about Mira from Zyuohger. So without further ado, this is my tier ranking for the Pink Rangers from Jetman to King-Ohger. First is Kaori, White Swan of Chojin Sentai Jetman. She's alright. She definitely feels like the backbone and heart of the team. She gets a pretty good episode with each of the team members, and overall she's likable enough and isn't too annoying, although I feel like at times she is kind of just like the motivation for Guy and Ryu, and that feels kind of weird. But as a character she's pretty good, so she's going in B tier. Next is Mei, Ter Ranger of Kyoryuger Sentai Zyuohger. She's a bad character, like the other Zyuohgers. She just has nothing to do, and backstory is never explained, and really doesn't get any good episodes, and she's pretty annoying. Although she does have that one episode where she fights Lammy by using a bunch of disguises, which is pretty good. But other than that, I don't really remember anything from her. And like the other Zyuohgers, she's just a nothing character, so she's going in D tier. Next is Ren Hall Ranger of Gosei Sentai Ter Ranger, and she's a good character. She's nothing crazy or anything, but she's just a solid character. She isn't too annoying, she's pretty likable, and she makes Ko a lot more tolerable. And the episode of Media Magician is one of my favorite episodes of that season, and that's a Rin focused episode, so she's a pretty good character overall, so she's B tier. Next is Suime, Ninja White of Ninja Sentai Kagura, and she's a pretty good character. She's probably the best character in general in Kagura, just because she's the only one that actually gets plot devoted to her. But I was never really invested in her story, because to me Kagura is at its best when it's just being unabashedly funny, and when it focuses on her story it just gets too serious. But it's still good episodes, and she can still pull off being serious and funny, but to me she's still the least funny out of all the Kagura, but she's still probably the best character, so she's going in B tier. Next is Momo O Pink of Choriki Sentai Ranger, and she's probably as generic of a Pink Ranger as you can get. She's kind of annoying, but she isn't too bad, and like the other O Rangers, she's kind of just a generic good guy character and doesn't really have any backstory or anything. But she has a couple of good focus episodes, and she overall isn't too annoying, so she's going in C tier. Next is Yoko, Pink Racer from Gekiso Sentai Car Ranger, and like the other Car Rangers, as a character she isn't that good, but she's just funny and has funny moments. And in Car Ranger, that's really all that needs to be done. All the Car Rangers to me are pretty much the same character, as just funny people, and they don't really need to be complex or anything, so she's C tier. Next is Miku, Mega Pink of Denji Sentai Mega Ranger. She's pretty annoying, but she's alright. I think it's tolerable because she's a high schooler, and also she's kind of slacker like Kenta and isn't a good student, so I'm glad that she's flawed. And also the Diet Crep episode is a focus episode of hers, and it's a really funny episode, so I can tolerate her being annoying because she has some pretty good focus episodes and she's kind of funny, so she's C tier. Next is Saia, Ginga Pink of Seiji Sentai Ginga Man, and she's the worst Pink Ranger in my opinion. It's just that her and Hikaru are basically the same character, and at least with Hikaru I can remember like one focus episode. I don't even really remember any of Saiya's episodes, except for the one that was adapted beat for beat in Lost Galaxy, so she's just a nothing character. She's kind of annoying, and she's the same as Hikaru. She's just nothing, so she's D tier. Next is Maturi, Go Pink of QQ Sentai Gogo 5, and she's my favorite member of Gogo 5. She's not an incredible character, but she's not annoying, and even though that she's the youngest, she is somewhat of a mother figure to her brothers, which is cool, and I think that's shown really well in the episode where all the other members get turned into children. And that was kind of the moment where I realized that Matsuri is a really good character, and she's just great because she has really good interactions with her siblings, which is great in a season like that. And overall she's just a good character, a really solid character. so she's A tier. Next is Yuri, Time Pink of Mirai Sentai Time Ranger, and she's pretty good. She's a little boring, but she's more a calm and collected type rather than an energetic type like most other Pinks are, so that's good. She has a couple of really good focus episodes, and her relationship with Tatsuya doesn't feel too forced, and it's cool that she's the leader of the team. So overall, she's a pretty good character, so she's B tier. Next is Saia, Gao White of Hyakuju Sentai Gao Ranger. I like the other Gao Rangers, she's just a nothing character, and I think she might be the most forgettable of them. And just, she doesn't really have any focus episodes that I remember, and her personality is nothing, so she's just terrible. But she's a little bit better than Saia, but not by much. She's D tier. Next is Umeko, Deca Pink of Tokuso Sentai Deca Ranger, and she's a very strange character to me. She's mostly annoying, but she's likable enough. It's just that her focus episodes are all over the place for me. Like, two of my least favorite episodes in all of Sentai history, and especially in Deca Ranger, is Princess Training and Babysitter Syndrome, which are two Umeko focus episodes. But then two of the best episodes in Deca Ranger, Proposed Panic and Requiem World, are also Umeko focus episodes, so it's really strange. But overall, I think she's just kind of too annoying. She relies on one joke that isn't that funny. So overall, I think she's a C tier character. Next is Hoka, Magi Pink of Maho Sentai Magi Ranger, and she's definitely the worst Magi Ranger, and she's one of the most annoying characters in Sentai history. Just every single time there's a focus on her, it was just so bad, and I think she's one of the reasons why I don't like Magi Ranger as much as I could. And there's really nothing else more I can say about her. She's just so annoying. There are times when I try to come around and like her, but she's just way too annoying for that. She's not completely awful, but she's just a bad character overall. So she's D tier. Next is Sakura, Boken Pink of Go-Go Sentai Gokaiger, and she's one of the best Pink Rangers, so that she isn't annoying in contrast to Natsuki, who is all the most annoying characters ever. So it's cool just to have a level-headed character to oppose her. And also she has a really interesting backstory as being a former Special Forces operative, and she also has a pretty good relationship with Akashi, and she also has a bunch of really memorable focus episodes like the Cinderella episode or the one where she has to go undercover with the actor. So overall, she's one of my favorite Pink Rangers, and she's going in S tier. Next is Mako, Shinken Pink of Samurai Sentai Shinkenger, and she's another really good Pink Ranger. She's the mother figure for the team. That especially shows when ToQger leaves in the ending arc, and she has a couple of really good moments of ToQger. But other than that, I can't really say much about her. She's a little bit boring, but she's not annoying, and she's just a pretty good presence, so she's A tier. Next is Arie, Gosei Pink of Tensou Sentai Gokaiger, and she's another pretty bad character. Like the other Gokaigers, besides Halatenhai, she doesn't really have anything to do. She might have a couple of moments, but I honestly don't remember anything at all from her, and she was a little annoying, although not completely terrible, but just she had nothing to do, and I really don't remember anything from her, so she's D tier. Next is I'm Gokai Pink of Kaizoku Sentai Gokaiger. She's another great Pink Ranger. It's just that she's not an actual pirate and is just a princess who's fleeing from her country in search of adventure. And it's just cool that she keeps Marvelous and Joe and Luca under wraps and in control. And she just has a great relationship with Dawn as the other non-pirate. And she's just great, has a couple of really good episodes. The one I remember especially is when she gets kidnapped, and she's just a great character, not annoying, and also fits really well with the team, so she's S tier. Next is Amy, Kyoryu Pink of Juden Sentai Kyoryu, and she's a pretty good Pink Ranger. She's kind of generic, but she isn't too annoying, and she's funny and likable. Just a weird thing done with her was with her relationship with Daigo at the end. Felt really forced and just out of nowhere, so that was really weird. But other than that, she's funny and likable, but just kind of a generic Pink Ranger, but she's still pretty good, so she's B tier. Next is Kagura, ToQger of Retro Sentai ToQger, and she's definitely the weakest ToQger to me, but she isn't as bad as I remembered. She's just a little too annoying, and honestly with her, it was pretty obvious to tell that they were kids all along. But she does have some wholesome episodes, especially near the end, and she's not completely terrible. Her annoyingness can be tolerable because she is a child, so it's alright. So overall, while she is annoying, she's fine enough, so she's C tier. Next is Kasumi, Momo Ninja of Shuriken Sentai Ninninger, and she's the only ninja I would say is a good character. Even then, that's kind of stretching it, but I think she's a solid enough character. She's not annoying like the other characters, and she still is funny. And she even has a pretty good character moment when she gets beat by Kivauri Gengetsu's son late in the season, so that's pretty good. And she's just funny and also isn't too annoying. So overall, she's just a good character, and compared to the other ninjas, she's like an S tier character, but in general, she's an A tier character. Next is Fuka, Shiro Ninja of Shuriken Sentai Ninja. Aside from Nagi, she's the worst ninja. She has her moments, but overall, she's just pretty annoying and not that funny, and really doesn't really have any interesting characteristics besides being Takaharu's little sister. So she's just mostly a nothing character. Even though I love the Dracula episode, I think I like it in spite of her. So overall, she's just not a great character, and she's a D tier character. Next is Amu, Zyuohger of Double Sentai Zyuohger, and she's another pretty generic Pink Ranger, although she's white. Like the other Jumen, she just has no backstory that's explained. She has a couple of good moments, but overall I think she's the most generic of the Jumen, although she is likable enough and isn't too annoying, although definitely fits in the stereotypical Pink range. And overall she's a C tier character. Next is Raptor, Washi Pink of Uchu Sentai Q Ranger, and like most of the other Q Rangers, she just doesn't have enough to do. She doesn't get enough focus, and I feel like her out of all the Q Rangers gets the least number of opportunities to go out into the field. So most of the time she just feels like a control room side character that also can transform into Washi Pink. And she has some interesting things, as she has a relationship with the Orion, and that's interesting, but I don't think enough is done with it, and overall just she doesn't get enough focus, so she's C tier. Next is Sukasa, Patranger of Keisatsu Sentai Patranger, and she's my favorite Patranger, and overall she's a pretty good Pink Ranger. Again, like Yuri, she isn't an energetic type, she's more of a calm and collected type. She isn't annoying, and she has a lot of pretty good moments, but I feel like she has the same problem that all the other Potter Rangers have, where they're just treated as jokes compared to the Lupinrangers, and that just sucks, especially for Sukasa, because I like her a lot. By the end, she is taken seriously like the rest of the Potter Rangers, but it's just too little too late. But as a whole, I still like her a lot, so she's B tier. Next is Asuna, Ryusou Pink of Kishu Sentai Zyuohger, and she is the greatest Pink Ranger in my opinion. She's just the peak of what a traditional Pink Ranger can be. I don't think she'll ever be topped. It's just that she's the backbone and heart of the team. And she can be a little annoying, as she's always energetic and stuff like that, but it's hard to not like her. It's just that the performance that her actress gives is incredible, especially in the second to last episode, which is just an amazing performance. And one of the reasons why that's one of my favorite episodes in all of Sentai. And I don't think she'll ever be bested. And she's my favorite Zyuohger by far. And she's just an incredible character. So she's S tier. Next is Sayo, Kirame Pink of Machine Sentai Kiramager. She's pretty good. She's a little generic, but she's likable. She isn't too annoying, except for one filler episode. But I think just the biggest problem with her, like I have with the rest of the Kiramagers besides Juro, they never really have any conflict over why Juro gets to be leader. I feel like Sayo would be the best leader, or Tametomo, but there's just never any conflict. So that's just a missed opportunity in my opinion, but she's kind of a generic Pink Ranger, but overall she's likable enough, and she's B tier. Next is Majin, Senkai Majin of Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger, and when I first saw Zenkaiger as it was airing, I didn't really pay any mind to her. I thought she was okay, but nothing special. But after I rewatched Zenkaiger, I like her a lot more, and I think she's one of the better Pink Rangers. It's just that she doesn't follow the normal stereotypes of an energetic Pink Ranger, is mostly timid and shy, and is also really cute, and I can see why a lot of people like her. And it just sucks, because if we had more Kikanoids like Majin and Juron, and not like Gowon and Vroom, I feel like the season would be a lot better, but I digress. Medina is just a great Pink Ranger, and I now understand why a lot of people like her, so she's A tier. Next is Kijino, Kiji brother of Avataro Sentai Dawn Brothers, and he's one of the best Pink Rangers. He would be the best if not for Asuna. It's just that he does a lot of things differently. He's obviously the first male Pink Ranger, but also he comes off at first like a normal guy who's just a little overprotective of his wife to being a full-blown crazy person, and becomes a monster of the week like 4 times, and is also the main antagonist to Inuzaka. And when Kijino turned Tsubasa into the police, that was like the best moment in the season. That was so good. And overall, he's just a really funny character. He's a crazy person. It's also kind of hard to not feel a little bad for him, but he's just a great character, a really good subversion of the normal trope. So he's S tier. Next is Rita, Papillon-Ogre of Osama Sentai King-Ohger. And they're another great ranger, so that they're a stoic character, but also can have funny moments, although it can be a little annoying at times. But overall, it's funny. And while in the first chapter they don't get too much focus, in the second chapter they get pretty substantial focus, and their backstory is just really interesting. And they have a great relationship with their retainer. So overall, they're one of my favorite King-Ohgers, and is an S tier character. Finally, I'm going to talk about Mira, Boom Pink of Bakuage Sentai Boom Booger. She's about as generic of a Pink Ranger as you can get. She pretty much went through her entire character arc in the first episode. She's pretty generic as an energetic Pink. She can be kind of annoying, but she's fine enough. And she's not as bad as Joe, but overall she isn't anything special. Kind of sucks that we're going back to just a generic Pink Ranger after we had such innovation from Zenkaiger to King-Ohger. And she's fine enough. She's just pretty boring. So here's my final tier list for the Super Sentai Pink Rangers from Jetman to King-Ohger. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm honestly surprised at how it ended up. It's very similar to my Blue Rangers tier list, but I mostly never really paid any mind to the Pink Rangers because of how similar they always feel, but I guess I like them more than I thought. So the only colors I have left are black and green, and I'm still thinking about whether I should just do 1 or 2 more lists. Probably do 1 more because I don't think there are enough individual green or black Rangers to make 1 list. So that'll probably be the last tier list for Sentai colors. Will be black and green. That shouldn't come out until around Thanksgiving because November is just going to be a wicked tough month for school. So won't have much time to make any videos. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Feedback is also appreciated. Have a great day.